This is the Diana Jungle tier list update. First thing I'll talk about is something it wasn't changed in the list, but people may want to hear is Evelynn. And yeah, she still sucks. Both obviously didn't do anything because they kind of weren't big. And I really hate when people say, "Oh, you just don't know how to play the champion." To anyone who says she sucks, no, she pretty much sucks. Even all advocates of the old Evelynn say she sucks. If anything, her stealth is pretty much useless. She's just a weaker Shyvana, but at least Shyvana can fight other junglers and has a gap closer near the end. Evelynn's gap closer, that running crap, will expose her and really isn't much. And why would you use that instead of using it when you're actually being CC'd by slows? Whatever. Evelynn, she still needs some work. Definitely needs work. As far as Twitch, I haven't brought Twitch up because I actually haven't really wanted to play him, and I haven't really seen him, so he pretty much doesn't exist again still. Next one to talk about now, he's a cool one. Skarner, he moved up a spot, and people have actually started using him again. For starters, a lot of people can agree higher levels are as well. He's pretty good solo queue because he can actually carry and get fed off his ass and go in hyper carry mode. And his ultimate is definitely an awesome thing, even if they get Quicksilver Sash, just don't use it when they, to initiate anymore. You strip him of his initiation power. But teams have started looking at him again, though they might not because, early game power is starting to come out. Though early game level 6, he's pretty cool. So yeah, he's got his damage, he's got his control. He's better than Udyr simply because of that ultimate. So, and he definitely has damage OB, easy to build, so there's that. They've got him going on. Lee Sin, another one I want to talk about too, because people keep going, "Oh, Lee Sin, why is he in the top tier in your general tier list? No one uses him competitive, whatever." You know what? I'll say this. Next time you see him in any jungle Lee Sin, you go ahead and think he's bad. Then you feed his ass. This is why he's still one of the most used in ranked play, and so high level ranked play, because he's actually a fucking good jungler. He's a very safe jungler. He's got his damage, he's got his control, he's got all his, he's got his energy, he's got his build versatility, he's got all that crap. You can't deny any of that. He's got his great ganking throughout all levels. And like I said, you just can't absolutely deny all that. And then why do people go off and say he can't be the top jungler tier list? What? As a jungler, he's got everything you want in a jungler, plus more, and plus even more there. And then you just add a lot of other bells and whistles. Also, he looks awesome, and he has a square jaw. He's got all these great things about him, and then people still say he shouldn't be the top jungler tier list. Why not? Why not? Because he isn't used? Well, you know what? He isn't used because competitive players take that extra step not to get screwed by him. Same thing by Jungle Alistar. It's like a lot of people say, Jungle Alistar, he's so godlike, he should be in the top of the... Why should he be in the top of the list? Because he's like... in competitive, he's not really used because people know how to take advantage of his weaknesses, and then he becomes a non-factor. Same thing with Lee Sin, but with Lee Sin, they have to go extra greater length because he's got ways to overcome the attempts at countering him, and not as many counters either. So there's that. Lee Sin is incredibly safe and definitely a solo queue pick, and he definitely should be up there in the tier list. So people should kind of just start complaining about that. Master Yi is one that keeps dropping, because I pretty much probably kept him up there because, I don't know, I got used to having him up there. He's bad, simply put. He can be good in some very specific situations, but even then other ones would have done better, and they would have definitely not had any of those risks. He's a control jungler, if you can say that. Well, he's a farm jungler. He's very just straight up. He's a farm jungler. His ganking, he can try to gank, and it can work sometimes. Most of the time it won't. He can try to duel, but it's pretty much just you ambush them, so it's pretty much ambush ganks. He can try to steal, but that's relying on RNG, and kind of early could get him screwed because he's got no escapes. It's just like there's so much risk involved in every single thing he does. It's pretty much, why would you use him? It's like I've only actually used them like they have Sejuani and Kayle. It's like when they have nothing but slows, then Master Yi, I find a reason to use him. And sometimes I still lose even during those times. Why? Because he just doesn't do anything. Like, he's got his damage, but then why didn't you go Jax? He's got his, some mobility, then why didn't you just go Shyvana? AP jungle Yi, I saw it once, and it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. An APE might be the only way to play him right now because it's a lot easier to actually get going than trying to farm the lane as AD or trying to survive in the jungle from everything. Next one I'm talking about is Maokai. And he didn't move at all, but he's somebody I want to talk about because there were some people being really stupid about it. It's like in the forums, people were like, "Oh man, look, Stonewall's gonna bump him up in tier list because he did recently well in this tournament, and he's gonna say, oh, I knew all along that he was good. That he should be top tier. Oh, some reason. Okay, you know what? He's been in the top, He's been in God tier before it was removed. He's been in the top of the list for a long fucking time, and I had him there before people even used the motherfucker. So there's that. Maokai, he's been above Nautilus the entire time too, and people argued why is he above Nautilus? Why? But Nautilus is used more. Maokai he's no longer. People were just fucking stupid. I'll just say that out. Anyone who argued about Maokai being strong because he wasn't used again and now he's being used again is fucking stupid. And Maokai, I'm going to actually write a blog about this part, about Maokai, Nautilus, Moomin, and several others that are similar to that, and compare them. Maokai is all about the early game power, which is why they use them. His ganking is great, his clearing is great, he doesn't need as much babysitting as Nautilus or Mumu. And, he's point-and-click ganks. Late game, the Nautilus fucking dominates, or when you need to kill some specific target, Nautilus definitely just ends up being better at that. But he needs more babysitting. It's like Maokai's power is focused on the early, Nautilus is focused more on the late. And Maokai is faster, early, doesn't require babysitting, can start doing things a lot sooner than the rest. Than the rest that are similar to him. So that's where his power comes from, and that's why he's always been above them. He's always been like the top 5. He's been above Nautilus because of that early game power, and because he doesn't require that babysitting. So those people saying this, Stonewall's so just barely gonna say this bullshit and say he came up with it because I think Blaze was the one that used him. I didn't really even watch that until just my friends told me. And I've been saying that for a long damn time. You can go back. And now, anyways, I'm going into the time of Cho'Gath. Teams have been using him, and not because of his buff. They've actually been trying to use him prior to that. They've realized, when it comes to being controlled jungle tank, Cho'Gath is pretty godlike at that, and it's like, sure, his ganking is wobbly, and sure, he's a gold-dependent jungler, but he can go through 3 gold items, oracles, and all that good stuff, and still be good. However, he's freaking risky, because if he drops, then, that just sets you back alive. You die with your stacks, you're pretty screwed. And he's also going to be part of that list with Nautilus, Maokai, and Moomin, that is part of the jungle tanks with CC. And I'll go more into that on that blog. Now the next one is the one you've all been waiting for, is Diana. And she landed herself in the top of tier 2, whether she'll be tier 1, that's just up in the air. Because she does have weaknesses, but some of them are not her own, so I gotta decide whether I should count that against her. The obvious weakness is, mana problems. Early on, later on they become a non-factor. But I'm talking about early, a Mumu. It's like a sort of a Mumu thing, is where a Mumu can survive without blue, but if he loses blue, then he's kind of screwed early on, and kind of makes it more difficult. Same thing with Diana. Diana, she could survive without her first blue, but it totally sets her back. She can't abuse her amazing speed or sustain without it. So she's very blue dependent for the first clear at least, and she's totally free to do whatever she wants. And her other weakness is that she forces the tank role on the team on some other thing. She can't really take that role, and if she does, she kind of isn't as effective as she should be. So I don't know why the hell you picked her. So with that, those are her 2 weaknesses. The more important one being that she forces it on her team to take extra precaution and extra, dictating her team's picks for them. Anyways, as far as speed goes, we already saw that in the pre-release. She's really, really fast, and the best part is she gets even faster, and she can maintain that speed. That's the best part. That's like there's junglers who are like fast early, then they slow down a bit, or they never get any faster. But she gets freakishly fast. She just goes up to a camp, annihilates it. Buff camp, she annihilates them too without needing wriggles or items. And she can't take care of Dragon at all. That's pretty sad. Every time I do, I'm like, I'm almost dead. I'm taking it. My teammates aren't helping me. That's a baby crane, by the way. And just don't bother doing. Don't. She needs her team to help her out in Dragon. She's pretty dismal at that. Next thing to consider is her sustain. Mono sustain earlier, I already mentioned that, but her sustain is high because just go in, kill something, she doesn't lose any health because of her shield, or she killed it before they even really did damage. So that's amazingly well. Now we're moving into the better parts, but first I gotta mention the ganking. The ganking is abysmal. That can't be denied. It's weaker than Darius' ganks, and Darius' ganks is pretty much I walk up to them with my long cooldown ability and pray it freaking works, or pray they don't just move out of the way. But hers is just less range, and sure, it has a slow attached to it, but so that Darius with his EW just follow that up. And it's not really that great. If you have a Lizard buff, yeah, it works out better because she can just apply everything and do a bunch of damage. Once her ultimate is activated, there's two ways she ganks. Either just dashing in immediately, grabbing them with E, or slowing them with a Lizard, or if she builds Phage. Just start cutting him out and hoping your teammates come in and help up. Or you can risk it and use your Q to apply Moonlight and then dash them, keep at them, and stick to them and dealing damage. Of course, that one's riskier. And considering she has no disengage, that could be really bad if you got baited into that gank or whatever. Or the enemy can actually blow you up and your teammate was too stupid to help you or whatever. That's meh. That's not what she's used for. Her level 6 ganking is great on squishies though. She'll fucking annihilate squishies. So take it, guys. I've been more unwilling to gank them if I don't have a good teammate. But squishies, man, they're delicious. They're food. I'll gank bottom all day long. Then let's see. The next most beautiful part is her build. Oh man, her build options are amazing. Like, she's an AP jungler, and at first people would go, "Oh, there are no AP jungling items," and like that's true. It kind of sucks. And the first try I went with her, I was like, I don't even know what the hell to build, so I just kind of winged it and ended up with a build that worked out. And then I'm like, I tried another build, and that worked out too. Every single build seems to work out in some way. Best of all is she can go triple gold items, still deal a good amount of damage for that part of the game where she just has that items, then build into a strong item and go about her day. She's so versatile in her build. It's amazing. And the 3 gold items she builds are obviously Kage, Philosopher's Stone, and Heart of Gold. And she can actually make something out of them. Like, the items she builds from them will actually help her out. Though, in the case of Philosopher's Stone, you could probably just go Elise Miracle and build, like, Sorcerer's Boots on her or some other item. Or even, some other item for boots, I mean. Yeah, and just go that fashion. I don't know if there's any interaction with the Sparrow Blade. Anyways, with that said, she's got a lot of builds. Being able to go triple gold items and then building into a damage item, that's an amazing prospect. It's just that gives her a lot of versatility. In games, I've gotten 1 gold item and gone like Doran's rings and some other awesome items because that's what was needed in the team, and I had the gold for it because I got some good chain kills early, and I decimated teams. I was behind, so gold items carried me, and then I was able to buy some utility items like the revolver into the book, into whatever, and it worked out well. I was able to build early damage and without building gold items, and it worked out well. She's got so much versatility with the build, and she still clears the jungle quickly, even without any actual items to help her out because of her base values base values and the AoE just annihilating every camp. So that's amazing. Amazing that she could just run around with just very minimal item requirements. And while she requires a lot of gold, she's very versatile with that gold. So it's while she may be quote unquote expensive at jungling, she's efficient with it. That's a great prospect. And of course the uniqueness that she's an AP jungler is a great thing. It's like she's one of the first legitimate AP junglers we've received. I mean, I made Zero jungle where you can justify her jungling, but that's not, really something special. Like, that's just kind of forcing it out of her. But Diana's a legitimate one. She's gonna be a good, strong AP jungler. Whether she's competitive or not, I can't tell you that. But man, I could definitely suggest using her if you need an AP assassin or whatever. And she can also gold AD hybrid build. I've seen her be built with Phage. I've seen her be built with even Ghostblade, but that one's kind of a little too far-fetched. Like Phage, Trinity, and build her some items, and Rageblade. It was an interesting thing. She's very versatile. Whether she'll be nerfed, even because I've heard a lot of, oh man, she's so freaking OP, that is also not up to me. I personally can just say she's balanced around the fact that, she's an assassin, because you can deal with assassins, but it, of course, takes a lot of work, and solo queue you can't really trust people to not be stupid, so that might get her nerfed. All I can say is I don't know if she'll be moving to tier 1. She may have the weakness of that sustain thing and forcing the burden on your team, but those are almost a non-factor. Almost not a non-factor, and like everything else that she grants you as far as power, and if you're a good jungler, like an experienced jungler, you'll be able to abuse to such a level and degree. I think she's got a lot of potential, and I'm enjoying that.